also being joined by Major Mohammed Ali Shah, who is a defense expert. Good morning, sir, and thank you for joining us on the broadcast as we are taking updates of this rather heart-wrenching incident which took place earlier. Meanwhile, as my colleague was saying, rescue operations are underway, visuals of it on the screen of cranes being deployed. It's taking place at a mammoth scale. What is your reaction to the fact that people from across the country have showcased solidarity to people who really need it at this time?
You know, it is extremely unfortunate and sad, and I would take this opportunity to once again express my condolence to the bereaved families. Extremely sad, and heart really goes out to them. Yeah, imagine the plight of any passengers boarding a train, going home, or going for work, or people who travel by train normally. Anuman Torpe, they are not the people who can afford the airline ticket. Most of them, not all, most of them. Now imagine a middle class worker taking a train, boarding a train to go some to his destination, and there are people willing and waiting to receive him at the other end with high hopes. And such bad news comes in at night. It's indeed heartbreaking, actually. Small children would be waiting for their fathers, their mothers. I mean, I don't know how it's going to be. And now, yes, at the same time, when there is everyone's come out in support, within hours, there were thousands of people rushing into the hospital to donate blood. It was very heartening to see that. There were over 1,000 units collected within a few hours, a matter of few hours in a jiffy. That's again heartening to see that. The rescue and relief operations are going on. It's heartening to see that. You see, the impact was such that the bogie, the train actually went up in the air and then landed back down. It was indeed, I mean, it is heartbreaking. It's unimaginable. It's beyond imagination. And I spoke to some people who went into the hospital. The way they described the bodies were laid down over there, actually my heart cried hearing that. I have seen wounded bodies, I have seen dead bodies, I have seen on the border while serving in the army. But this kind of a ghastly, Goli sight was something very, my heart just sank hearing the description what I was given to me. So you can imagine beyond comprehension. Yeah, it was so sad. Now the very fact is, imagine a goods train being parked, and the train coming on such high speed, banging into it, ramming into it, flying up in the air, landing there. Imagine the plight of the passengers. Signal was given green apparently, and immediately after it crossed, it was given red once again. So there was an error there. Now whether it was a human error, sabotage, that inquiry will reveal out, I'm sure, and I'm certain. Whatever the ruling comes out, there would be heads which will roll, 100%, which has to happen. Now, imagine a third train after 5 minutes coming and banging into that pier. Now, I'll give a very simple analogy for everyone to understand and connect and relate this with. It so happened that we all drive. It so happens that when we are driving on a highway, the first vehicle suddenly applied a brake. Why? Because a dog has just gone past. So it applied to save the dog. Now behind there's another vehicle, and that comes and bangs into this vehicle, and third vehicle, fourth vehicle, and it's affected. It goes down the chain. That happens within a fraction of few seconds. Imagine a goods train being parked. A moving train has no business absolutely to go and ram into the parked train. No business at all. Okay. Now that happened, that's happened, fine. Very unfortunate, but it's happened. What should be the next protocol? The SOP. Stop the traffic, alert every single train, put the red signals in every signal, right? 5 minutes. 5 minutes is a decent time to actually react. 5 minutes is a long time. But no signal, I don't know. It's surprising. It's really distressing. The third train comes and rams into it, further leading up to casualties. Now, Pia, I'm from the army, so I believe in one thing. Respect all, love all, but suspect all. Now, in 2017, there was a terror plot busted where a suspected ISI agent was arrested And he gave out certain inputs. Apparently, it was there in the news that there was supari for sabotaging trains, for carrying out rail accidents. An innovative method used by them instead of resorting to the old techniques of bomb blast and such things. This was just a theory then. Now, I'm not saying it happened. I'm not speculating. I'm not jumping to any conclusion. Let the inquiry rule out. But being from the defense background, first thing that comes to my mind is suspicion. I hope there's no foul play. I hope it's not sabotage. I hope people would talk about human error. I hope it hasn't been done by any bad intention person willingly or whatever. That's the first thing that would come to my mind, and then there would be an accident angle and whatever. Now the fact is, Pia, those 5 minutes are good enough for people to react, to stop the traffic immediately. The bodies, and people have had to use gas cutters. The rescue teams had to use gas cutters to take out the bodies in disfigured position, in disfigured state. They were little babies. The window pane, the toilets, the sea. Now I'll tell you one more thing, Pia. Having traveled by train in reserved compartments, unreserved compartments, in general dibba, in Fauji dibba, in AC, 2-tier, 3-tier, first class, everywhere, in coupe, I've had experience of traveling in trains all throughout. And India has the largest network of trains to the extent that even in the Gulf, like Saudi Arabia, for example, is taking consultation. They are looking up to us how we have developed our train network. They should take advice from us. So they are taking that. Fine. Now, when we are advising such big countries that our rail network is very strong and there's a lot of pressure on the railway minister, Ashwini Vaishnav, that he should resign. See, firstly, I would urge people should not play politics over this right now. Right now is not a time to play politics. Who should resign? Who should not resign? What could be done? What could be done? Ho gaya. Finished. Very sorry. Very sad. But such a thing should not happen again. Where's the guarantee? I hope it doesn't happen. I hope, and I pray, I cross my fingers, it doesn't happen. There are trains running as we speak right now. As we speak, there are trains running all over India. Where's the guarantee? So people develop a psychosis of fear. Say I have personal friends who have a fear psychosis of traveling by air. Now, I would not be surprised if people develop a fear psychosis by traveling by train. Majority of us, we are not a very rich nation. So we are dependent on trains to travel. And even people who have to go zero time, like I had to go on zero time many times on temporary duty or something, and where I didn't have a confirmed seat, I didn't have a confirmed reservation. Though the TT was very helpful to accommodate me, and that's a different thing, the way I would deal with them. But sitting in a general dibba, now those general dibba people at nights come on to sleeper class, and they put their newspapers and the shawls and the bed sheets, and they sleep near the door, they sleep in the way. So many times people complain that a sleeper class, a normal second class, has been converted into a general dibba, but it's so crowded. Now there should be a regulatory body, there should be a regulation to keep a check on that. Secondly, yesterday I was on the panel on your channel itself, there was Dr. Ishwar Gidala, and I totally agree with him. He said they should, if we have seatbelts in cars and airplanes, why should not we have seatbelts in trains? Well, at least we can make a start. At least the trains like Shatabdi, some of them are AC chair car. In those, there can be a seatbelt. They can be. So similarly, such innovative methods can be used also.
Indeed, Major Shah. So we're getting to know that around 100 unidentified bodies are being kept in AIIMS Bhubaneswar. What is your reaction to this tragic news?
Extremely sad, extremely sad and very upset, very distressed hearing this. And of course, I don't blame any agency for that. Everyone is doing the job. And as our Prime Minister has commended the country, it has made all of us as Indians come out and stand together, that we all are with the bereaved families of the people who have been affected. Immediately, we all have been affected. It's a personal loss to every single one of us. It's a personal loss to you, for me, that all Indians are my brothers and sisters. So that, that our countrymen have lost their lives. There are 1,000 unidentified bodies. I will equate this, coming from the army background. In the army, we have something, I'm not saying that to implicate that, please don't misunderstand me. I'm trying to tell you how we, when we speak of unidentified bodies, how we declassify them in the army. So we have a band, we have a certain mark, so that if at all, when there's a battle casualty or the body is unidentified, when that particular mark, with that particular band, one can identify that, because if I have to, it's blown to shreds many times, when in wartime. Similarly, because it's unidentified, it's charred to death, it's beyond recognition. That's how we recognize them. Here, there is no such means. So here, I feel very sorry for them. But at the same time, I would be a slightly bit optimistic, and I would tell people that, see, there's nothing to look positive in this. I understand that. People would tell me this. But I would still say, ummeed pe duniya kayam hai. Hope is what we all live on. So these debris rescue operations are still going on. Miracles do happen. Miracles in the sense, I'm not saying that, something out of the blue will come out. I'm talking about pure logic that you never know. In debris, I believe the kind of casualty, bogies over bogies have climbed up. And they are there scattered, turned turtle, some of them. So there could still be a scope for one person. I believe even if there's 1% chance, it's worth pinning your hopes on that 1%.
We still have Major Shah with us on the broadcast, who is a defense expert. Sir, yesterday, in fact, condolences were pouring in from across the world, whether it was Japan, Singapore, Saudi Arabia, the UAE, France, and now a statement from the US President. What is your reaction to this?
India has always been there for everyone, for every single country. I mean, we have stood in solidarity, in support for every country. We stand for humanity. So when such a crisis happens in our own country, of course, I mean, it's but expected, and I really appreciate, and I, through your channel, I would like to convey those countries. Thank you very much for being with us in this hour of grief, of difficult times, for being there, and for this emotional support is well enough, sending good, positive vibes. It really helps. These vibrations coming across continents, across different countries, it helps somewhere emotionally. We feel we are not alone. We feel there are people standing for us, by us, who will support us. Because India has always reached out to everyone. I mean, you see the examples of when we had a disaster, when we had the Afghanistan. Let me start from the Gulf War. In the Gulf War, I had the honor of interviewing Air Chief Marshal Tyagi, who was the Indian defense attaché to Saudi Arabia, and when he shared the entire story, the entire narrative about exactly how the operation took place and during the Gulf War. So we have always stood by our people outside as well. You look at 15th August 2021, when the Taliban came into Afghanistan, India was a few countries who reacted immediately. We got back our people from there, not just our people, we got foreign nationals as well. We rescued them from Afghanistan. You look at the Operation Ganga in Ukraine. Yes, yesterday I was in conversation with the Major Tur, and in fact he shared how he did good work in Operation Ganga, and how our entire India are united. We sent Air India flights. What didn't we do exactly? We did everything for everyone. Look at the Turkey Syria earthquake. We were the first one of the first ones to react and send our NDRF teams, our relief teams, our Air Force teams, our army teams. We were the first one. So now when such a crisis, we meet with such a crisis, yes, it is karma, because we do good, others do good to us. So I truly appreciate these kind of good wishes coming our way, and they are taken very well. As our Prime Minister has said, yes, it has united our entire country. We all stand together in this hour of grief. It is extremely sad. And once again, I would tell the families, most of them, because many of them were, as somebody on the channel was saying, I think a reporter was mentioning that they were from the lower middle class, and so they may not be understanding English. तो उनको मैं बोलूँगा थोड़ा मुश्किल वक्त है, मैं जानता हूँ आप सबके लिए, लेकिन थोड़ा आप सब्र रखिए, और I am very sure कि हमारी गवर्नमेंट कदम उठाएगी कि ऐसे हादसे दोबारा कहीं पे ना हो, और बहुत से हेड्स रोल होने वाले हैं इसमें. इसकी जब इंक्वायरी निकल कर आएगी और मुआवजा दिया जाएगा, वो तो अलग बात है. वो डिक्लेयर ऑलरेडी हो गया है, द कॉम्पोजिशन हैज बीन डिक्लेयर्ड, बट it is a very difficult time. Ask me, I have faced the brunt. I have done the task of informing people's families
The most difficult task that I performed in the army was not to face bullets or the enemy. No, the most difficult task when I would call a soldier's kith and kin, his near and dear ones, and inform them that your father, your brother, or your son, or your friend is no more in this world. How difficult it was for me, imagine. I can still imagine the shrieks and the shouts and the reaction on the other end of the phone. You can well imagine how it must have been. It's so difficult for me, Pia. It was extremely difficult. So now I can well imagine the pain what people must be going through. And yes, I thank the international community through your channel for whatever my thanks are worth from this small man. That thank you for standing by us. We appreciate that.
Indeed, Major Shah. Thank you, in fact, for joining us on the broadcast and presenting your insights to the viewers.